Hey besties, and welcome to 2024. I do this every year, but at the start of January, I make a pact with myself to embark on a little shopping detox. Yup, you heard that right. The new year is the perfect time to make a conscious decision to bid farewell to certain things that have been on my shopping list, but don't need to be there anymore. I thought I'd share this with you so all of us can enter 2024 with a clean slate and get control on maybe some out of control spending. We are all constantly bombarded with ads and social media promotions, so we have to make an effort to buy things that are not only worth it, but also to help us stick to our budgets. With the year of saving and investing ahead, here are the things I am no longer buying in 2024. Let's dive in. First up, social media trends. I understand the irony of me, a social media creator, telling you not to listen or follow or be influenced by social media shopping trends, but I have to say it. Over the past year, I've seen so many people buy their 7th Stanley Cup in a different color, toe spacers to fix their bunion, Dyson Airwraps, lip stains, you name it. If it's been peddled on social media, I've personally probably thought about buying it. What I want everyone watching to know is that your interests and influencer incentives may not be aligned. In some cases, I definitely get recommendations off of the internet. Maybe your favorite licensed physical trainer is recommending a pair of orthotic shoes, or your favorite musician is recommending a playlist. But in some cases, people who have no business and no expertise in a subject matter are talking about it like they're the world expert. That's the joy of the internet. Anybody can have an opinion on anything, but not everyone's opinion can be weighted the same. Just as an example, I've seen so many gimmicky products advertised on random meme pages on Instagram, one of which were toe spacers to fix bunions. And I wear heels a lot, so I'd like to straighten out my toes just as much as the next person. But I don't think a comedy page is going to know anything actual about the medical anatomy required to fix a foot problem. You'd be way better off finding a podiatrist creators page and seeing what they recommend. So I'm not saying don't buy anything that's trending on social media anymore, but if I do want something, I plan on doing the research to actually see if it's legit. Up next, I am no longer buying aspirational beauty items. But before we get into that, I do want to take a quick second to plug my book. My book, Rich AF, came out on December 26th of 2023, and I am so excited for you guys to read it. If you are interested in getting yourself a copy or coming to see me on tour, yes, I am doing live shows all around the country. All you have to do is go to richaf.me and visit the site. It'll have all of the information on where you can get a book, maybe even a signed copy, as well as come see me in person. I'm so excited to answer all of your questions. We can talk about saving, budgeting, investing, anything that's been on your mind. So please check it out. I can't wait for you to read this. Okay, but now back to our video. I love skincare, hair care, and makeup, but let's face it, sometimes I fall into the trap of buying more than I need. This year, I'm streamlining my beauty routine and focusing on products I genuinely use and love. Especially when it comes to skin, I'm a total sucker for all things trendy that make big promises. Things like a magical extractor tool for blackheads, or a red light mask that'll reduce wrinkles, or even a gua sha that'll snatch my jaw. And I'm not saying these items don't work, but they don't work for me. Mostly because I'll buy them out of excitement, use them religiously for a week, but once the allure wears off and I get busy with work or seeing friends or literally anything else, that step in my self-care routine, it's the first thing to go. I just personally don't have time to spend 30 minutes using a little skincare gadget every other night. But on the flip side, I do know what works for me, so I'm going to try and stick to those products because I know they'll serve me well and get used. If we're being entirely honest, I'm pretty lazy, so the things I love include a toner from Laneige that comes in a spray bottle so I don't have to get my hands wet. I love the Euphoria foundation because it goes on so easy. I love the Glow Recipe Smooth and Blur Drops because they make my face look like it's been airbrushed. Love the Laneige lip mask. I put it on every single night before bed. I love K18 because I can replace my conditioner and just use it as a step after I shower. Tower 28 facial spray, my Jones Road eyeshadow that I can put on with my finger, and a nice Dr. Jart moisturizer just because I keep it in my purse and I can put it on my face, and it's really helpful for long flights that are super drying. What do all of these things have in common? They're super easy to use, and a lazy gal like myself can actually find the time in the day to get them on my face. And the thing that actually works is the thing you'll actually use. Something's utility is only as high as how frequently you actually plan on using it, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but just because you spend a lot on a new item or device doesn't mean your habits will actually change. So if you got a few things sitting in the back of your drawers collecting dust, you may be better off just selling them. Things like blow dryers that are really fancy that you don't bother to use, or skin tools that have not even left the box. Then you get to pocket the cash versus waiting for the day you'll finally decide to revisit that high-frequency skin zapper thing. The third thing I'm no longer buying, groceries. And I know what you're thinking. While the first two no longer buying things may have been pretty easy to understand, this one is probably throwing you for a little bit of a loop. But just hear me out. I am just one person. I also split my time between multiple locations in Miami, New York, and LA. And that means at any one point, I am cooking for a maximum of 2 people, myself and my fiance. And more often than not, I am cooking for myself. That's it. And if we're being honest, I've had more than one bag of kale go bad on me before I got a chance to eat it this past year. Not only do I travel a ton, but I also have a pretty busy social calendar. Because I split my time when I'm in certain locations, I try and see all of my friends who I may not have gotten to spend enough time with. This results in a lot of dinners and sometimes even lunches out. So even though I buy groceries, I don't always eat them. And wasting all that food not only makes me feel bad from a financial perspective, but also just from a food waste perspective. This year, I'm likely going to stop buying groceries, though I will keep a few frozen foods and dinners in my freezer in case I want a meal at home. But more realistically, if I need food, I can opt to grab something from the hot bar at my local grocery store that day, so I'm not paying restaurant prices, but I still don't have to cobble together a meal myself. This is a happy medium that's a bit pricier than cooking at home, but it is a better alternative for me because I'm just more likely to spend less going this route than buying groceries that go to waste. If this is something that you're also thinking about and you don't have a grocery store with a hot bar nearby, what you could do is order meal delivery kits for the weeks that you know you'll be cooking and eating at home. And last but not least, I am waving goodbye to fast fashion. I know it's time for me to embrace a more sustainable wardrobe, focusing on quality over quantity. No more impulse buys that end up collecting dust in my closet. Not only is it harmful to the environment, but it's also harmful to your wallet. I definitely had a moment in college where I was going out every single weekend, and for some reason or other, I felt like I needed to have a different outfit in every photo. This then seemed to translate into my adult life, where I still couldn't rationalize spending more on clothing, but this also meant I eventually ended up with a pile of trash that had just fallen apart at the seams, shrunk in the wash, or didn't hold its shape because, frankly, it wasn't very high quality. In fairness, I've been trying to do this for a few years now, but I really want to try and migrate away from fast fashion whenever possible and invest in higher quality pieces that I'll get to wear over and over again. I plan on doing this by calculating cost per wear. This is a helpful equation that helps you assess how practical just any one piece of clothing is. Just divide the cost by how many times you think you'll realistically wear it in a year. So now you're probably wondering, how do I know if something is actually worth buying? Well, lucky you, because I've got a handy dandy little equation. This is the Your Rich BFF is it worth it equation, often called the value-based spending formula. You take the cost of any potential purchase and divide it by your hourly take-home pay. In other words, how much time do you have to spend at your job to pay for that good or service? If your take-home pay is $20 every single hour, instead of your pad thai delivery costing $28.73, it's now about an hour and a half of work. Is that worth it? Those $80 yoga pants, 4 hours. Personally, I learned a lot about myself using this equation, and it severely cut down my discretionary spending when it came down to retail clothes and social obligations. But it also helped me feel way less guilt when spending money on vacations and dining out, because I could always justify that cost. Personal finance is personal, so don't feel bad for spending money on stuff that's worth it to you. This start of the year detox isn't just about saving money, it's about freeing up mental space and being more thoughtful, conscious, and purposeful when shopping. It's a step towards minimalism and a more fulfilling life focused on appreciating what you have versus always yearning for the next thing. As I always say, spend your money on things that are worth it to you. And yes, it's cool to have the trendy item and fit in for a little bit of time, but those aren't the things you remember. You remember the spending that actually brings you joy. So there you have it, folks. That's my plan to ditch these items in 2024. I'll update you throughout the year on how the shopping detox is going, and I'll share any challenges and triumphs along the way. If you're joining me on this journey, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Let's support each other in making mindful choices this year with our spending. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Remember, it's not about what you buy, but the impact those choices have on your life and the world around you. See you soon.